Welcome to another in our series on one-source tax provision functionality. In this episode, we are going to talk about trial balance lines and sublines. What do we use these for, and what impact do they have on entries within the software? So the underlying concept for your trial balance and sublines is really for prepping a tax basis balance sheet. So most clients will tend to not use this functionality because they are not doing a tax basis balance sheet within the software. However, if you are doing your journal entry using the software, you are going to come in here and put in some line items at the very base level for the tax entry accounts that you are trying to post an entry on. So the system pulls that from this area as well. So what are your trial balance lines? These are essentially your subcategories. So similar to what you have when you look at your trial balance on your own general ledger, you will have subcategories, whether that be cash or whether that be, revenue or expenses. There is some kind of categorization. So similarly, you're going to want to set up within the software something similar to what you maybe have on your own trial balance. Some clients will also set this up using what we call TRCs and TCCs, which run in conjunction with the one-source import income tax functionality, and they will do their tax trial balance lines similarly so that they can have a one-to-one match. But this is basically your subcategory. So here you can see at the very base level, we did, balance sheet asset and liability. We have an equity, we have an income statement, and something that's called default. Now, out of the box, if you're using the software, you do need to at least delineate between your income statement or your liability, because the software also pulls income statement items for what we call the tax basis income statement. Now, we don't have many people using that tax basis income statement. So oftentimes we will kind of just map those income statement accounts as well over to a balance sheet account. Now, the sublines represent your actual accounts. So all of your cash accounts, your liability, your payables, your prepaids, etc., will reside here. And you will then map each account to a type, whether that be the balance sheet asset, equity, and all of these are the trial balance lines that were originally created in the trial balance lines area. Now, if you are using the software to post a journal entry, you will need to check the box to designate the account as being a tax entry account. And this will be used in the journal entry screen to pull the accounts in and populate your journal entry with those accounts. So the trial balance lines and sublines, I will just pop in to a report here so that you can see what that looks like in the trial balance area. So here's your tax basis balance sheet. And if we run this, you will see that our check assets equal liabilities plus equity does not balance. And this is because we designated some items as income statement. So if I pop in here and run this report, you should see my offset to that. Now it's slightly different, so not sure what's going on there, but typically those two would offset each other. So you can see here your accounts coming in, your line items. So these would be your sublines, and then the groupings, your assets, liabilities, and equities. Those are coming in from the trial balance lines that we set up. Now, once you've got your trial balance lines and sublines, if you need to do a tax basis balance sheet, you will also have to do some additional mapping. And we're not going to go into that on this session, but the additional mapping will be used to bring in the book tax differences that are residing in the deferreds. We need to map those deferred to specific accounts so that at the end of the day, you can get your tax basis balance sheet completed. Going back over into the trial balance lines and sublines, while most clients are not using a tax basis balance sheet within the software, what we do find with the advent of one source work papers is that many clients are using the trial balance to populate their workbook. So instead of having to create a workbook for an entity and download your trial balance into each workbook manually, a lot of clients are able to kind of get their trial balance out of their ERP system as a mass download. They will bring that into one source tax provision, either using the import functionality or the bridge functionality. And then they will have that sitting in their, if I go into the review and edit screen, they will have that sitting in the trial balance area. Now, once that's loaded here using one source work paper, you are able to bring in either at a unit level or a sub-consolidation level, you can bring in your entire trial balance within an Excel workbook. And so we find that a lot of clients are using the trial balance lines and sublines to populate their workbook as well. There's one thing I forgot to mention, and that is that the managed trial balance lines that has been created here is your default view that you can see in the software. So if we go back to the report where I ran the trial balance, the tax basis balance sheet, under your options, that will be your default view. So if I go back in here and run it, you will see the same coding that we had. Now, if you don't want that view, or for whatever reason, you need to generate a report with a separate view, we can create a roll-up that is a tax basis balance sheet roll-up. So this was actually the original view that I was in that shows it looking a little bit different. So you do have the ability to kind of break from the standard default view and do a roll-up view if you would like to. Hope you found this information helpful and look forward to seeing you on another episode.